You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello there. It's time for another episode. Are you okay there?
Yeah,
Cookie?
I'm trying to get my chair in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. You're listening to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and
And?
the people who make it happen.
And there we go. We're actually talking about media today.
Yeah. Well, not just media in general. We're talking about Forbes specifically. There was going through my LinkedIn, and Linus Belunius. Belunius? I didn't see. We're not directly connected. He's a second for me.
Okay. And here's your first one.
Oh,
Stapis
Edel.
Edel.
Yeah,
we are just like
trashing these names. Anyway, Linus wrote, Forbes did it again. Federal prosecutors have just charged AI startup founder Joanna Smith-Griffin with defrauding investors out of $10 million.
Good girl, huh? Yeah, and she evidently was great at it because she got caught right after she was put in for, they're 30 under 30, something like that?
Yeah.
And
on 30 under 30.
Yeah.
And their article is based on the fact that Forbes also Elizabeth Holmes,
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
And so it's
a host of others.
So basically, they're guessing wrong, right? They said there was the Jim Cramer of magazines.
Yeah, Jim Cramer of Forbes. Jim Cramer. What is it? What did they say for him?
Under the
Forbes
Jim
again,
Cramer of media.
Undefeated. It's indeed the Jim Cramer of media.
They keep guessing wrong with all these, young people who are supposedly going to take over the world, and they do something bad.
Yeah, exactly.
These are bad people. These young whippersnappers think they can get away with it, and they don't. So, if Forbes ever put somebody really young on their cover, do a little critical thinking and investigating.
Well, the thing is what's happened is I think it's storytelling. So we're hardwired for good stories,
right.
And the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's work, the hero of 1,000 faces. It's the same story, comes along, comes up with something great, failed, went through all this trial, things didn't go well, and then comes back again. And so we've always got this rags to riches or nothing to riches stories, and these people that are changing the world that came out of nowhere. And they're more interested in the story than they are actually,
digging down.
Yeah, they're looking around. This has got to be, there's my article that I'm going to write, and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to be the first one to call this.
It's sensationalism, and I think that media overall is so anxious for that sensationalism because there's no rules anymore in terms of being neutral or really giving people true information. So I think reporters don't dig as deep as they used to.
Yeah, it's kind of sensationalism. It's just like the X Games. People are just taking it to the next level. How can we do something more, bigger, faster,
and like cheerleading? Look at the cheerleaders that are doing all kinds of, nifty gymnastics and amazing things, and then everybody gets hurt.
Yeah, well, and not everybody gets hurt. It does add the risk factor.
Exactly.
And Forbes, like other news outlets, they've really lost credibility in general.
Yeah.
And, they're talking about all these things, and maybe they've just decided, hey, we throw a lot of stuff on the wall. Nobody will remember our bad things if we do a few good things. It's what was our last good thing?
Yeah. And they just kind of tickled the surface for things. Like, okay, what are the basics? It's almost like they're dumbing things down to get more readership or for more sensationalism.
Yeah, and it's interesting because to me it's much more, it's like electric cars. Okay, great. I like where we're going. The environment's very important, except right now electric cars are not helping the environment. This whole focus on electricity is hurting the environment. Between the batteries and the neighbor's Tesla got a little scratch on it. They totaled the whole car. Yeah. It's like, a little buff of paint would have covered it.
Because of what it's made of, yeah.
It's just why don't they trust? Who's gonna be the first group that's gonna start trusting people to actually be using their brains, or maybe they shouldn't trust them to use their brains, and get into a little depth on this stuff. Why?
That could be fear-based because they may find something that would mess up the whole story.
Yeah. Well, and the real stories are, if we're trying to create something that's just, the reason you liked a hero's journey is it was a little bit of a fantasy. It doesn't happen that often. And now they're trying to make it happen.
Reality sucks, so we're sticking to the fantasy.
It's sort of like that. Well, what does that say for us as a society? Or
shame on us. Well, I think, we have been so fear-based, and there is, we are so divisive. The world we are just hardwired for negativity. And therefore, we're afraid to take risks.
And got to go back to my, Elon. Love Elon. And I told the story a while back, as supposedly the story goes, and again, it could be a hero's journey story. They were taking off and they were working on this issue, and the engineers were telling Elon, hey, it would take us 6 months to solve the problem. He said, turn the plane around. They landed back in the hangar, and they said, we're not leaving the hangar until it's solved. And supposedly 26, 36 hours.
Could be an urban legend. We don't know.
It could be. We don't know. The idea, though, is that I don't think we need to be force-fed things. I think we can deal with complexity. And I think it's a much more interesting story with all the wrinkles. Maybe that's it, our plastic surgery one about people wanting to get rid of their wrinkles. People don't want to see wrinkles. Wrinkles are interesting. Facial contours and things like that.
Okay. Bring us back to this.
Well, in this thing, Forbes writes a general article that, it's a hero's journey, doing great, started up, she's connecting families, she's using AI. It's all the hot topics. And they wrap it up that here's something different, and really just a good old con game going on.
And because when they did come back to it, she's, I don't even know how she defrauded them.
Well, she got money, VC money. She claimed.
She just lied about where the money was going.
She said she had 3.7 in revenue the previous year, 2.5 cash on hand.
Yeah.
The reality was only 495. The reality was only 11,000.
Yeah, 3.7 million in revenue the previously
fake
year.
Contracts.
$11,000. Yeah.
With districts.
So that and those things are incredibly easy to
check.
And they don't check their facts. I don't know who's writing or even worse, who are the managers? These people who are managing these who's ever writing these things. Where are your facts? Where are the fact checkers?
So so really the internet is driving people, not people are driving the internet, because the internet needs content. It needs lots of content. And so let's get the content out there. So people are responding to this. Let's
do it fast and then apologize later. Do first, ask, right?
Yeah. And that, wow.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission?
Yes, and all that, except why, people are worried about AI taking over. Mm-hmm. I think, it's the way humans respond to it already.
Okay, and on the bottom of ChatGPT, it says, ChatGPT may make mistakes. Check your work. You should check your work all the time.
Well, not only should you check your work, you should also be asking questions. You should learn. These reporters, when they're going out there and doing these things, they should be...
Right. Who, what, when, where, why,
how?
Yeah.
Oh, can I see your bank account? Oh, here are the contracts.
Yeah. Can I?
Let's follow up with
papers?
one of the contracts.
Yeah. Don't believe people. Be a New Yorker and don't trust anyone. So just saying, don't start with me.
Never mind. Gonna get in trouble. I
don't trust him.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
So it was very disappointing because Forbes was always such a leader in articles about business and the people who, like we say, the people who make it happen. And I think their reputation is kind of losing it a little bit.
So look at this. She was a Harvard Innovation Lab graduate and a member of the prestigious Forbes 30 under 30 list. So, what was going on at Harvard Lab?
I do not know because I guess I didn't ask questions.
Yeah, I don't even know what Harvard Lab is or what's going on.
I do not know. So we'll have to find out about that. We don't know. We'll get back to you on that one. Bottom line is, overall, we're just disappointed on, somehow this old established magazine that prides itself on information that helps businesses and helps people do business better made these mistakes in, Elizabeth Holmes and Sam Bankman-Fried. And, it's surprising. And you would think that they would have learned a lesson in terms of how they're doing their investigative reporting.
Well, and for me, it's all about trends. So everything is not just about what's going on now. It's about what does this mean in the future? What are the consequences of this? And why is this happening? And what is going on? And we're seeing more and more things come out that are not verified, that are just downright false. And more people seem to be playing the games and how to con the system because people aren't, fact checking, or they're not checking their resources, or they're not doing a little investigative work,
right,
or they're trying to sugarcoat something that shouldn't be sugarcoated.
There you go.
So interesting. I don't know where this is going to lead. I can tell you, though, I'm concerned about this trend that just because something's available, we think we should fill it. I have a tendency to keep things around the house, and I know having empty closets is...
Translation, he hoards.
Yeah,
things.
No, it's not quite that bad, but it's close. And we do have hoarders that run in the family in the past. Anyway, the whole idea, though, is you shouldn't have to fill those gaps. I mean, it's okay for silent white
There is
noise.
something to be said for white space.
Yeah, exactly. And there should be white space in the news.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And I don't have anything else on this. Right. I just think it was an important thing, I think, to bring up, working with it in business and using Forbes. I mean, and I read a lot on Inc. and right. Fast Company and things like that are a little faster moving and younger just in terms of their readership and what they're trying to do. And they also do the 30 under 30 and things like that. And it's interesting that they haven't found anyone who has. I don't know if they're not looking, for the people that they have put on their lists.
Oh, I bet that these same people are on their list too.
So it'll be interesting to
we
look
haven't checked that. We should probably check that
and see. So
here,
that's a good
let's
thing.
do a pause. We'll have some white noise. Here, dum-dee-dum. What's the Jeopardy music?
Da, 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 da. Don't make me sing. Please don't make me sing. We will.
What magazines covered Joanna Smith-Griffin along with Forbes?
He is the worst at looking things up. We're going to lose people right here.
Right here? Well, this is me trying to do something. Joanna Smith-Griffin, was she on any other 30 by 30 lists other than Forbes? Times of India. Oh, no, that was just news on this. Hey, I started Forbes, Yahoo, Axios, Business Leader, another Forbes under 30. No, they're all saying it's Forbes. Yep, definitely Forbes. Arrested for fraud. Looks like somebody's got it out for Ford on this one. It doesn't say startup sold AI, New York Times. Featured in Forbes, 30 under 30. Well,
there
okay.
You go.
I guess you nailed it. I guess it only was Ford on that one.
Yeah, because, here's the 30 under 30. Wow. Yeah, Inc. does it also.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So maybe Forbes will do a turnaround.
It's just
from
Forbes.
This.
Anyway.
Or maybe they don't care.
Okay. We are over talking this. So we're going to end it here. We will leave you with that thought. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.